I think I can see you, but you are muted. There you are.
Hi.
Welcome, Nadine, to our
Yes.
Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, live as
New
you as,
time.
as you turn a new day there in the Philippines. Yeah.
Yep.
For those of you watching out there, a little bit of a rough start. You saw some screens that I wasn't intended to show, all PG, mind you, but I'm working on a new computer, so welcome to my learning curve. Um, yeah, so today we're going to talk about back pay for Social
Mm,
Security disability benefits. And when you go through the disability approval process, there is a certain amount of money that you are entitled to for back pay. Going to really focus on how to maximize that back pay and then confirm that you're getting the most amount of that. So what's one thing that we have on tap? And then you have one of your very soon to be extremely popular segments of soft skills today, right?
yes. We're gonna have some soft skills spotlight again today.
Soft skills spotlight. And then we'll do some Q&A and have people join. Now, listen, we have changed this time to 12 p.m. And we did it, and then because it was convenient for us. But as I look at the usage on our website, the number one most popular time that people are on our website is guess what?
What? 12?
Right now, which is interesting because on our YouTube channel, it shows that most people are between like 3 to 5 o'clock. So I don't know, maybe they come here first. Thank you very much. And then they go to YouTube. Who knows?
All
All right.
right.
Um, Good. Let's get started. So for those of you that are out there, I would like to know if you're going through the disability approval process, and like, where you're at, applied and waiting, and I can kind of tailor the back pay conversation, to that.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. First of all, how does the back pay work? So back pay is also known as retroactive pay. So for every month that you are out of work, that you are able to prove that you are eligible for Social Security disability benefits but have not been approved, you are eligible for back pay. So let's walk through an example, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's see, we are in May right now, so we'll use this calendar year. The first 5 months that you are out of work, it's called an elimination period. There's no back benefits. Elimination could be another way for Social Security to save some money. So if you're out of work for January, February, March, April, and May, which we are in, then your first month of back benefits would be June, would be the 6th month, right? So if you are able to prove that you are not able to work because of your injury or illness in January of this year, then you would be able to have that be your onset date. And every month from June on would be an accumulation of your back benefits. All right. So does that make sense? Kind of,
Hmm.
sort of, maybe. All right. So we're going to come back to the critical piece of proving that your onset date is in January, because if you don't and Social Security resets it to a time later, then you lose money. All right. So you apply for disability in like in this month in May, knowing that the next month of June is going to be your first month of back benefits. And let's say for math calculations, your application would be submitted in May, but it'd really be starting in June. So, and it takes you 10 months to get your decision. Possible right now should be like 6 or 7, but it could be 10. So that would mean that you have from June all the way through 10 months. So June minus 2 months would be March of next year, you get approved. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, 10 months. Okay. So in March of 2026, you get approved. And you would get ideally a back benefit check for the 10 months from June to March. So if your monthly check was, let's say it's $2,000 a month, you are going to have a $20,000 check from Social Security, yes, deposited in your account. So that is the concept of back pay. But if you don't get approved at the 10-month March and March of 2026, and it continues to go on, your back benefits will continue to accrue. So some things to take into consideration. Sometimes people have a hard time, finding a way to survive the wait, and they can make deals with their landlord, understanding that you're going to get some back pay to pay off and resolve bills. But you've got to win your case, right? Now, here's another thing to take into consideration is that if you are out of work for more than 12 months, like that 10-month example that I gave you from June to March, if you are out of work for more than 12 months, that's the maximum amount of time that you can get back benefits for is 12 months. The 13th month on, you're forfeiting your monthly checks. So those of you that are out there listening optimistically, want to go back to work or think you can go back to work, that's all well and fine. But from a financial perspective, you should really submit an application to lock in your benefits in the event that you cannot work or you go back to work or it's not successful. Because otherwise, you're just forfeiting that money, right? So that's a consideration. Now, your onset date. We went back to January of this year. This is where your medical records and your communication to Social Security is critical because if they are not able to understand, meaning Social Security is not able to understand that your disability started in January, and let's say they move it up to like June, well, you missed 5 months. That's a $10,000 deal. So when we do our work here and you get into our disability approval course, which if you're new here, you'll learn about how you can get a membership and into the course. You'll learn how to communicate your limitations to your doctor and how really critical it is, even if you're still working, to demonstrate that when your disability started. Okay. And that limitations meaning the amount of time that you can stand for. Maybe that's 15 minutes, or the amount of time you can sit for. Maybe that's 10, or you only can lift like 7 pounds, not even a gallon of milk. Those types of limitations, right? So you want to make sure you get your onset date locked in and established with Social Security. You want to make sure that you file so that you don't forfeit any money. These are just my financial suggestions. You can do whatever you want, which most people do. But these are some tips to help you get the most out of your back benefits. So here is a situation that does come up on occasion, is that people get approved and they look at their award letter and they're like, oh my God, they moved my onset date from January to June and it cost me 10 grand, right? This happens. So what do you do? First of all, you want to review your award letter and make sure it's right. And if you get into this situation, it's really a delicate one because you do have the right to appeal it. So you can appeal and go back and reference the medical records. But this is what I have personally had happen. First of all, I'll start with the good news. Michael Hatterton, who is a member here, He disputed his, and in the show notes, the description of this event, you can go listen to his interview, and he was able to get his adjusted back. He's the only guy I know. What commonly happens is Social Security will get an appeal like that, and it's happened to me from members that we've represented, and they've totally shut off their benefits. So they've gone from approving to not saying that disputing the onset date to going to the extreme and shutting it off. Okay, so then yes, that can happen. We did go back to court and we got the benefits reinstated and got all the money back. But you have to be prepared to have your benefits shut off if you dispute your back pay. And if you can do that financially and definitely you feel it's right and just, then I suggest you go for it. It's your money. Worst case scenario, you'll likely get approved again and maybe they just adjust the onset date. So these are some of the things that will happen with your back benefits. So, and if you don't know what your back benefits or your check amount is going to be, then you can go into your Social Security account and look at that. One other tip I have for you, and then we're going to move on. And if you have questions about back pay, then you can answer those in the Q&A. I have a tax tip for you. I'm not a tax guy. But if you received a lump sum of back benefits, let's say the example that I gave, instead of getting approved in March, that that individual filed an appeal and it went to reconsideration and they got approved in March of 2027. So they would have another 12 months. They'd have 22 months of back benefits, right? 22 months times 2,000 is 44,000. Is that right, Nadine?
Um,
Asking you to do math on the spot. So somebody has $44,000 in back benefits and they have a tax liability on that possibly. So what you can do is, though it's that 44,000, if you took it all in 2027 and filed it on your taxes, that would be one thing. But that money really is for 25, 26, and 27. So if you go to your tax person, or maybe you know how to do this, and spread that 44,000 out over the 3 years, and maybe you had years of lesser income and it didn't impact them, right? So you can save on some taxes that way, right? Not a tax guy, just a tip. I actually received this from a member out there. So, all right.
Okay.
That is the conclusion of my portion of the program. And again, in the show notes, there's more about back benefits if you want to do a deeper dive. And there's the Michael Hatterton interview. You can check that out. Right.
All right.
Um, Good. So, how about this? Just before we get on, everybody, I see you're piling in out there. If you have questions, you can add those in the comments, or you can join us live in the event today.
Yep.
And we'll give you directions to do that. But before we do that, we're going to have our soft skills spotlight. And before I turn it over to Nadine, if you haven't listened to one of these, or what, maybe this is the fifth segment,
I think it's the
sixth,
fourth. Yeah.
fourth. Okay.
Yeah.
Nadine has done great work in working and recruiting and training and managing teams of people to help them work for you or improve their skill set. She works here as an advocate, runs our advocate team, does an amazing job. And she has these nuggets of information that are put in spotlight segments for you folks to learn from so that if you're seeking something to do to supplement your income, which many of you are out there now, we're in hopes that this will be of value to you to make your path a little straighter, clearer, right? So thank you for
Yep.
doing this.
All right. So, Brian, thank you so much again for that introduction. And let me share my screen to everyone for the little presentation that I made. And I hope this shows as full screen this time. Okay. Are you guys seeing my screen now? Can you give me a
Yes,
thumbs up?
look at that. It's full enough. It's really
All
full.
right. All right, great. So again, Brian, thank you so much. The talk that you just did was a powerful breakdown of how back pay and retroactive benefits work, and more importantly, how to check if you receive every dollar that you're owed. So now let's shift something that's often overlooked, but plays a huge role in making sure that those dollars don't slip through the cracks. So,
Hmm.
this is your soft skills spotlight, and we're focusing on how things like confidence, clarity, assertiveness can actually help you get paid what you deserve. So, why soft skills matter when dealing with SSA? So it is one thing to understand how SSA calculates your benefits, but it is also another thing entirely to make sure that you're communicating effectively, asking the right questions, and following up. So people often miss out on benefits not because they didn't qualify, but because they didn't know what to ask or didn't feel confident challenging something that didn't look right. Right. So here are five key soft skills that I'd like to share with you. So here are the top soft skills that really makes a difference when dealing with social security. So number one, confidence. So number one, learn SSA rules, learn your benefit estimates, and learn your appeal times. Because having these information, it would really, bring confidence when you speak to them because you know what your rights are. And you can also use resources like SSA.gov or the Disability Digest, or if there are any advocacy groups that you know, make use of that. And remember, you have the right to understand your case because you paid into the system. So these benefits, you earn them. Okay. Second, my is not moving. My presentation isn't cooperating
Oh,
there. So second is clarity. So be specific when you speak with SSA representatives. Ask things like, can you walk me through how my back pay was calculated? Or does this amount include retroactive benefits? You have the right to ask those. So again, being clear. So pro tip, use simple, clear language, even when you can be emotional when faced with those situations. Number three, patience. So we all know that the process, SSA process takes time, but don't let delays stop you. Follow up respectfully and consistently. So one tip, track your calls and submissions on a calendar or an app so that you will remember, like, let's say, for example, if you call for a follow-up, you would have the information as to when was the last time you contacted them. So if they ask that from you, you would be able to have those information handy. So that is very important. Next, assertiveness. If you believe that something is off, whether it's your onset date or a missing month of payment, make sure that you speak up. You can ask for a written explanation. And just what Brian said earlier, you're allowed to appeal or you can request a review. Okay. Next, empathy and storytelling. So, when working with a representative or an advocate, explain how your disability affects your daily life. These personal insights can support a stronger case and ensure that your timeline is accurate. Now, here's the best part. Are you ready, Brian?
I'm ready. This is great.
Here's the best part. You don't have to figure this out alone. When you're a member at the Disability Digest, you get guidance, tools, and support to build and apply these soft skills because you will know what to do, what to say, what are the steps that has to be done. And then you apply these soft skills, then you should be able to, you know, be prepared and confident to follow up and make sure that you're getting what you are entitled to. So, by being a member here at the Disability Digest, we show you how to prepare for your calls, what questions to ask about, how to explain your case clearly and confidently, and how to follow up without feeling lost or overwhelmed. So, final thoughts. So, as Brian shared earlier, it's crucial to check your records, know your onset date, verify your payments, but also remember, be clear, be confident, follow up, and if you need help, we got your back. So yeah, you can't change how long SSA takes to process your claim, but you can always change how you effectively advocate for yourself. So yeah, that's your soft skill spotlight for today, and that's how you get every dollar you are owed. Thank you so
Perfect.
much again for sharing your space with me, Brian.
Perfect. This is really good. I have a few contributions to this. Um, you mentioned the word concise, right? You want to be clear in your speaking, I believe is what you
Yeah,
said. So
correct.
in our disability approval course, one of the first segments that you receive is how to communicate that you qualify in 2 sentences or less. And
Hmm.
if you think about a Social Security employee and their a day in their life, and then this piece, they're overworked, they have volume to do, their staffing is way down. A lot of them are new, right? So if you go in there and you are talking about the wrong things, which most people typically talk about their conditions, they don't talk about their limitations.
Hmm.
Point is, if you just have this one thing to explain, like, I'm not able to sit for 15 minutes, I'm not able to stand for 15 minutes. I have chronic pain, which causes insomnia. I'm sleeping like 4 hours a night, and I'm just not able to remember repetitive tasks. And I'd love to work, but
Hmm.
I've got degenerative disc disease and arthritis. I'm not able to work. That's an example of a statement that is concise. So that's one
Yep.
tip, is definitely to learn that. Um, in my almost 2 decades of experience in doing this work, I have had numerous phone conversations with Social Security and helping individuals get their benefits approved and collecting money. And there's a few things that I've learned. That if you are, even if you have a representative, you still perhaps are going to be engaging with your case manager. So understand the names of the people that are working on your case. So if you call in, you're going to have a gatekeeper that'll get you to your case manager. You want to understand if the gatekeeper is Mary. Oh, hi, Mary. How are you today? Great. Thank you. Is Joe in? Yeah, I'm just following up. I wanted to get back to Joe on something. So you're not calling like you're new, and I'm
Hmm.
not telling you to say something that's not truthful, but if they're working on your case, you're getting back
Yeah.
to them. And so Mary's going to be like, oh, well, Joe, yeah, he probably wants to speak to you, put you through. So then in your communication with Joe, you want to be concise, you want to be clear and grateful, because these are
Yep.
overworked, underpaid people. Some of the things that I've done in the past is I'd say, listen, Joe, I really appreciate you working on my case. These things are really beneficial. Is there any survey or feedback that I can give that would be helpful? I want to let your team know how good you're doing. That's
Hmm.
the other one I've done is I would do a lot of these calls on Friday, and I would get in touch with somebody like Joe And I would say, Joe, listen, this is really good. This is what I'd like to suggest that you do. I think you should just take the rest of the day off. You're doing such a good job. That would get Joe like kind of laughing. And Joe's going to remember you the next time you come in because he's going to be saying,
Mhm.
this is a guy that's trying to fill out a survey, give me time off, all these things. So learn your own flow to connect with these individuals, remember their names, treat them like people, and be concise
Yeah,
and super, super respectful of their time, right?
yeah. I like that. Treat them like people. Because
Treat them like
sometimes,
people.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because there's, people, the emotion that gets involved, the charge that it generates for oftentimes it's tough when you're sick and your
yeah.
financial concerns. And another great job on the soft skills.
Thank you. All
Yes.
right. So, yeah, are we ready to move on for a Q&A?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Yeah, so everyone, I'll be posting the link for you to join us, ask question live here at Zoom. So again, if you have anything that you want to dive deeper into today's topic, we're inviting you to join us live for Q&A. But I would request that you please drop your question in the comments or in the Zoom chat so that we would be able to make sure that we are answering the right questions during the live. And also, if I may request, make sure that your Zoom name matches your YouTube name so that I know that because sometimes, Brian, they're dropping in questions in the comments, and then I wouldn't know that it's their question because they're using different names. So if possible, use the same name for your Zoom and your YouTube name. All
Okay.
right. So while we wait for someone to join us live on um on call, I do have some questions here from the comments, if I may ask them. So first question is from Dolly. She said, "How long does it take to get a decision after you see the Social Security doctor? I've been waiting a year and I've just seen the doctor April this year. Will I get a back pay?"
Okay, so there's two questions here. The wait time, that seeing a Social Security doctor is typically the last step, major step. So I would say like 3 to 4 months. If it's gets beyond that, that's when you can start to be and apply some polite, persistent follow-up. Follow your
Mhm.
case in your online account. Regarding your back pay, I hope you get a lot of it. But it's not clear to me. Did we get the math on how?
No,
No. So,
they didn't mention it. Yeah.
yeah, so you have to take into consideration your onset date. When was that in your application? And the elimination period, and then your check amount. So those were some of the factors. If you want to join us in the conversation, come on in. We'll do some math on it. That
Yeah.
would be easier.
Yeah. All right. Another question here from Amy: is back pay taxable?
Yes, in your award letter, you'll see that you're subject to taxes. And it depends on your tax status, marriage status. Yeah.
All right. I have another question here from Jerome. He said, if I had accident and became disabled physically in 2018 and filed for benefits this year, I was also diagnosed with schizophrenic anxiety, depression. Also, as a child, I received benefits from SSI. So I think he is, yeah, the question is incomplete, but I think he's asking if he would still be entitled for benefit. It's if his onset date or he became disabled 2018 and he's filing this year.
Uh, don't know. Here's what you want to do to find out though. If you haven't already, if you are an SSI candidate, typically you would go through the application process for Social Security disability at the same time because it's going to be more money for you. but it's really dependent upon your work history. If you have worked 50% or more of the last 10 years, which don't know, then you could qualify for a disability check. That would be the first thing that you should look into. And you can find that out by logging into your My SSA account and looking for the disability amount and if you qualify. You need 40 work credits or calling, which is really, really tough right now, or
Uh,
set an appointment and going there. Those are your three options to find out. If you are eligible for a check, so let's say you're on SSI now and you're getting $784 a month and your Social Security disability amount is $1,400 a month, then it would make sense for you to follow the channel of joining us as a member, or if you're not already, getting into the
mhm.
disability approval course, understanding if you want to use the course or a representative or both to go forward and get approved.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Brian. Now, before we move on to the next question, I just want to say hi to Philip. He dropped a comment saying hello to us. So hi, Philip.
Philip,
We miss you. Your
come on
fans are your
in.
fans missed you, and they're looking forward to see you again live next week.
Yes, yes.
All right. So, Brian, earlier we were talking about back pay, and before our live event today, there are a few questions that came up before the show. So, I hope it's okay if I would ask these questions. Um, are you ready?
Should I sit down? Something tells me there's a real zinger here. Bring it on. Let's go.
All right. So, first question. What level of communication, documentation, and transparency should a disability representative provide to justify their fee after a case is approved, especially when there's no hearing involved?
Okay. Was there like a source for these questions, if I may ask?
Oh yeah. So we had a member who got approved, and of course, being her representative, we are paid uh, out of her back pay, right? But
Uh,
she felt like, yeah,
okay,
like
okay, okay,
not very satisfied and happy
right,
about the amount, yeah,
right.
that was taken from her.
Okay, so the question is like, what level of, again, communication or information
Hmm.
should be provided based on the work that we've did? Okay, so
Yes.
um, let me collect my thoughts here for a moment. I think the best way to explain this, first of all, there's no obligation. And for us to prove the results that we generated, this member got approved. Is that right?
Yep. The
Okay,
member got approved. Yeah.
got approved. Okay, so with a disability representative, I'm a non-attorney disability representative, and all the workflow and the paperwork comes through my name. Or it could be an attorney with another firm. We all operate and basically we work for Social Security under an agreement. Like I have to go through annual recertification, I have to go through ethics testing and all that. But what I'm saying here is that they have a fee agreement, and in that fee agreement, there is no reporting that is there. Um, and so, not to say that we don't do that, but there isn't any obligation to do that. Does that like satisfy that part of the question?
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. I think so. Now, I also have another question here. This one, it's a question from me because I'm actually curious about this because I've interviewed members who became our clients that we represent were in during that time the maximum or the cap for representation fee was only 7,200, but then we transitioned to 9,200, right? So if a claimant filed when the fee cap was at 7,200 but their case was approved after the cap increase, oh, which cap would apply and how should that be explained to our
Okay.
clients or claimants?
So the fee structure is not set by a representative like me. The fee structure, and that's where, there's a working agreement between a disability applicant and a representative, and that's where some of this is great questions and clarity. So it's set by Social Security. And in the form that everybody needs to authorize in order to be represented, it's Form 1696. So SSA 1696. Everybody needs to sign that. It says that the fee is subject to what the commissioner determines at the time of approval. Maybe not that exact language. So if
Hmm.
it's 7,200 and then it was changed to 9,200 and you're approved and it's 9,200, then it's 9,200. And so
Okay.
that's the agreement. So for us to do work on a case, be able to get access to it and all of that, we need to have that signed as well as some other documents that satisfy to Social Security that, that's the deal. Um,
All right. All right. That's clear. So, we don't have anyone joining Zoom yet, but we have a few more questions from the comments section, Brian.
can,
So
can
we have a
I,
question here.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you, Nadine, but I have a few more thoughts on this that I would like to share
Oh,
with
yeah.
those that are out there.
Sure, of
Um,
course.
So I am sensitive from my perspective to the fact that, you know, whatever the fee is, it's a lot of money. And
Hmm.
where I see challenges with individuals is they're like, well, you didn't do much or you made mistakes. Mistakes do happen. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's like kind of like baseball, right? Somebody hits 330, they're great, but they're not hitting 1,000. I'm not saying that we hit 330, but we win at a ridiculous rate. And I say ridiculous because I know others in this. And it's not because we're picky or that we
Hmm.
just, we're blessed. So, but things go wrong and that annoys people. And it would be great if it wasn't the situation.
Hmm.
But maybe evidence is received and it's not submitted. But that's the point. So point is a result. So and then the second thing I want to add to that is when people look at it and they're like, oh, well, we've had situations where we've only been on the job for like 3 months and gotten somebody approved at full fee. Okay, well, yeah, we weren't on the job long and maybe we invested X amount of hours, but I've been doing this work for almost 2 decades and we have people that do case representation that have been on it for over 7 years. We know what to look for.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not an hourly thing. You pay for experience if you do it right and you hire somebody. And if you want an hourly arrangement, there isn't such a thing with Social Security because they only have the performance-based fee agreement. But I encourage people to get a few things in line, back to the communications and the soft skills, do your part to communicate properly. I'm not saying that the representative is not responsible, but sometimes it
Yeah.
could be on you, the applicant, by sending stuff to the wrong email address or not complete or an attachment they can't open or, there's all various things or to do that. So uh, clear communication and understand that you hired somebody to do a results-based job.
Yeah.
That's the agreement. That's my two
I
cents.
would agree. I agree. I think this, the job that you do, Brian, representing people should not be based on an hourly basis because it should be based on the results, like what you said. And, the shorter the time that you actually spend in getting them approved should be to their advantage because they're not going to be paying as much representative fee if they don't have to wait long to get approved. So,
I do have
yeah.
one more, and then I promise I'll shut up after this. So the difference here at the Disability Digest, unlike anywhere else on the planet that I know of, is we provide you with a disability approval course. That is really the foundation of what we use for the fundamental steps to get
Hmm.
individuals approved. Like at the initial application, there's 7 key things that need to be done. Our team does. So you don't need to hire us, right? You can use the
Yeah.
course. I'm open and I've interviewed countless experts to put this thing together. But if you do hire, you got to be clear on what the deal is.
Yeah.
And I also suggest that you follow along with the course so you know what needs to be done at each step of the way. We strongly encourage that. Okay, done. All
All
right.
right.
Well,
Thank you so
I
much.
need to make you a give you
Oh,
permission
yeah.
for yeah. Okay. That's a great question.
All right. So we have Julie Porter trying to join us live. I don't see her question yet, but yeah. Would you allow me to let her in, Brian?
Last week it worked out pretty good, so let's roll
Yeah.
the dice.
Okay. There you go. Hi, Julie. Julie, if you're on your phone, make sure that you tap the microphone icon to unmute yourself and tap the camera icon to turn on your camera. So you can just tap anywhere on your screen to bring out the Zoom controls. Or if you're on your computer, you can hover your mouse to reveal the Zoom toolbar at the bottom and click microphone to unmute and camera to start your camera.
Should we
Now,
work on
yeah.
it? Oh, here
Oh,
we
there.
go.
Hi,
Here I am.
Julie.
Julie, we now see you, but we do not
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, we
What
can hear you
I
now.
okay, I have a question. Okay, in 2021 in January, I was involved in a very bad accident. They life flighted me to Herman Hospital. I spent 3 months in a medically induced coma where they would wake me up here and there. I had my legs are completely, I've had tons of surgery. I got a new ankle, tons of rods and screws in both legs. It's really bad. I walk on the side of my foot. About a year ago, they took away my Medicaid because they said I have not been found disabled yet. I do have attorneys. I have turned in all kinds of stuff to the attorneys, not learning the stuff from them, just watching like disability stuff on TikTok and everything. And they denied me the first go around. They said that yes, I am disabled from the waist down, but from now, because the days are different, I can work from home, they're saying, but they're not looking at the brain injuries. They can still see my TBI that lights up, but I have frontal lobe, and then there's something else in the back, and I need to be on this certain medicine, my neurologist said, but I can't afford it because it's $1,020. So all I do is sit around and cry and stuff. They said it's from the brain damage. I have a psychiatrist. The neurologist took me off all the medicines the psychiatrist had me on for the crying and stuff. They said that's not what I need. And I don't know what to do. And now we're doing it again. They denied me, and we're in this other, I don't know what it's called. I don't know the right words to use, but in this middle part, also, my grandmother, that's 90, told me to contact Randy Weber, or I think he's our congressman. And I went to the office and filled out paperwork. So Randy Weber is involved in it too, because he does Social Security stuff. And I think he's a congressman. And I got a lot of people involved. And I'm just scared this go around, they're going to deny me again, and they're saying that I owe back payments, but I've never gotten money except for when the judge granted me an amount when I went to court the first time since 2021, and they said I was overpaid. And I called because nobody will call my attorneys to discuss this. Well, I found out yesterday I'm involved in this lawsuit or something. It's called something that happened in 2021. I forgot what the word is. And they're looking at all these people that they're saying that owes back payments that they really don't. I don't know what to do. I've done turned in functional capacity. I've already turned in these other papers where the doctors write what's wrong with me and why I cannot work and stuff. I was a home health care nurse at the time of my accident. My brain damage, I can't even remember nothing. I have to write everything down. I have spirals, notebooks since 2021. I
Julie?
get no help. I don't know what to do, baby. Tell me what to do.
Well, I want to learn a little bit more. Thank you for coming on. Very brave. And you, you need having a health break there. So I have a few questions for you. I just want to better understand your situation. You said you went to court and right
Over the phone, yes.
over the phone, and that was for your Social Security disability case?
Yes, the one that was filed in 2021 that the hospital did while I was the
Okay.
way I was.
And were you approved?
No, they approved me for the lady really thought because I got a caseworker and I was able to try to talk to her. This is really bad. I've been through a lot of physical therapy and a lot of
Just
occupational
just
therapy.
stay with me. I'm going to cut through
I'm
the
sorry.
noise here. There's only a few things I need to know.
Yes.
Um, so you were denied in court, and is the attorney, did you have an attorney that represented you in court? Okay. And is that attorney, did they appeal that denial from the attorney or from the
Oh,
judge?
yes, they've done everything. That's why we had to go ahead and they told me the best thing to do since the judge filed me disabled from the waist down, but not the other way, saying I could work from home. They went ahead and suggested me to just refile the whole thing again. And so I did.
What was the date? What was the date that you went to court approximately?
Uh, Had to be around 2022, 2023 is when they denied me.
Okay. All
And
right.
I have a lot of medical records that they
So
have.
there's a few things. So you currently have a new application in the system.
Yes. And they denied me. And that's when we started this other process where they have to look at it and stuff. And they're going to get back with me. And then the next stage is for me to wait again to go in front of a judge over the phone again.
So you're going back to a judge. Where are you located? What state?
Texas, Brazoria County.
Okay. All right. And so do you have the same attorney group or disability representative working on your case?
I do have him, and everybody, and I feel like maybe I need to get a new lawyer or something, one that actually speaks up at court and stuff. But I'm scared because I have turned in all kinds of paperwork on my own that I found out, and I don't even remember the paperwork. Actually, I got one right here that I can tell you that I turned in and what it's called. Where is it? Here it is. Um, it's called a physical residue functional capacity questionnaire.
Yep.
I got that from my orthopedic surgeon and my neurologist.
Okay, so they're doctor support forms.
Yes, and I'm waiting to get a new one from my neurologist from the frontal lobe and everything, but I have to take a what is it called where they look at everything? Got what it's called, but it's a 6, 7, or 8 month waiting list, and it takes 6 hours to do it.
So Julie, on those documents that you have from the doctors, Is there a question there that asks them how many days a month that you would miss work because of your condition? And if yes, what's the number?
Um, how many days of work? Emotional, let's see,
It's usually
moderate,
like 11 or 13, depending on the form.
13. How often a typical day of the patient's experience of pain symptoms
Yeah.
severe enough to interfere with attention and concentration? They didn't write nothing right there.
Okay.
Um, they just filled out certain forms and I faxed them to my attorney.
Okay. Um, well, there's a few things that I have questions on. One is your original case, if I don't know all of the medical behind it, but that could have been appealed and continued on so that if you were to win that one, then you would have gotten all of the back benefits all the way back to 2021. Now you have a second case that you have started, which is okay. Um, but you are forfeiting the back benefits from the day after you went to court, until now. So there really
Yeah.
isn't anything that can be done about that. That's just for everybody else that's out there listening. That to me is really a big question. So you have a lot of evidence. I don't know, like from your attorney perspective, whether they're good or bad or what they're doing or not. It's because I don't know them and I don't know the evidence in your file. But one thing that I do that you
It's
did share with me,
Marquise Law Firm, and
who?
it has a Marquise Law Firm. I
Yeah,
think they're out of Houston, Texas.
I don't know them. Um, so you have the government official Randy Weber, I believe, is working on
Yes,
the situation. Okay.
yes.
Um, I don't really see an angle as to what they can provide for value right now, although you could ask them if they can give an assessment on your current disability representative, if they're any good or not. I don't know if
Well, she called me yesterday and she said that my case has been given to, I guess, somebody else. And she gave me the lady's name and phone number. And she goes, "Look, she just got your case yesterday." And so I did call, went ahead and called the lady and left a message for her to call me, but nobody has called me back. I need them to focus on the neurology part. That's the part that, because I still have seizures. They're called, it's not like seizures like other people have. It comes from stress. They call them something, I forgot what, pseudo seizures.
here's a few points I want to just tighten up.
Mm.
Are you over 50?
I am 40. I'm either 46 or 47. My birthday's in December. I was born December 6th,
Okay.
1977. So
Okay.
I don't even, and I don't even know. I think it's 24, 25, 20. I don't even know the year. And I have to look at the days and I have to remind myself.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
I'm going to be cutting you off if you get off on a tangent because I just want to focus on what I can do to help you. But so in your situation, you because you're under 50, you have to prove that you can do like that you cannot do any job that's out there. So that in part explains why they feel that you could work at home and do any job. So I do believe that you're on the right track right now with getting the doctor's documentation from their perspective to prove that there's some cognitive limitations. Um, and I just, the other thing is you're going to need to have somebody that's going to take all this evidence and is going to be able to convince the judge with your evidence that you're not able to do any job. All right. And so from our conversation today, I'd love to wave my magic wand and say I can help you do that.
Me
But,
too.
but
Let's get our magic wands together here.
that's right. That's right. So it is okay for you to go to your disability attorney or non-attorney, whatever they are, and say, listen, I need some time. I want to understand how you are going to prove that I qualify. And here's the thing. If you release them and go to somebody else, which you have the right to do, they have the right to file a fee petition with Social Security to claim money for the work that they've already done. I'm not saying I don't know what they've done, but I want you to hear me out. So what
Yeah.
that does, let's say they say, well, we've done, $4,000 worth of work on Julie's case. That means the next person that goes to work on your case is not going to get the full fee of $9,200 because 4,000 is going to go to these people. So it's less attractive. It's unfortunately a disadvantage for individuals like you to go shop. So what I encourage you to do is have a come to Jesus meeting. I don't know if you know what that means, but have a right call out meeting with a person that's responsible for your case and ask them to explain how they're going to prove you qualify. And if you don't get a satisfied response, ask for somebody else in the firm. You can threaten to leave. They're not going to like that, but you can threaten it knowing what I've shared with you, and I don't expect they're going to watch
Oh,
the
I've
replay.
threatened it in the past.
Yeah. But if you can't get it from the person on your case, somebody else, listen, they have an interest to win so they can get paid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I don't know what their experience is or how long that they've been doing that. So those are the tips that I have for you. I will wave my wand for you and pray for you. And between all of that, what I would ask of you is that you keep us updated, right? Are you a member
Yeah.
here? Or are you just
I am
aware?
now. I am
Okay.
now a
Okay.
senior.
All right. So there is a disability approval course section for how to prepare for a hearing. I don't know if Nadine, when you joined, has your email address. We want to make sure that you're in that because there's one really important part in there that will help you understand the questions you're going to be asked by the judge, that you will be asked, right? And how to answer those, right? So that's like one example of that. So if you could make sure Nadine gets your email address, if she doesn't already, we can get you into that segment of the course and help you that way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
and the doctors are saying now, because I already know and I've been asking for help, they're saying now I have chronic pain because not only in my legs and my lower back, they said that I've got chronic pain.
That's
Mhm.
unfortunate. It's not going to change my opinion on how we can help you, right?
So I called them and asked them, what are they going to do to prove my case? What was the words that you used?
Just like, how is it that they're going to prove that you qualify? Just like we teach you and others in our disability approval course how to explain that you qualify in 2 sentences or less, right?
Yeah.
You're going to call them on it. Say, listen, I'm down to the final hour, man. I want to know if you
I
got the
am
goods to make this work or not. Give it to me. You've had my case for however long they've had. Just, yeah.
since 2021.
And listen, if you're not comfortable doing it and you have some cognitive issues, bring somebody with you that will advocate for you to do that or have them on the phone. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. So ask them what they have. What are they going to do to prove my case?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Prove that you
All right.
qualify. Yep. You
All
got
right.
it?
Yeah,
You're
I've got
good?
it. I'm going to do
Waving the
this right
wand.
after I get. I know, pray God. I pray every second of the day. I'm going to wave my wand
Wave the
and
wand, everybody out there in Disability
wave
Digest,
it.
man. Let's wave it for Julie.
I need
All
to
right.
wave it.
Prayers for you. Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming by.
very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining, Julie.
Thank you.
We'll pray for you.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Do
Bye.
you need my email address?
Yeah, you can send it in chat or yeah, I think the safest way to do it is send me a chat before you leave
Okay.
this. Yeah, before you
Oh,
leave the room.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, we got a lot of things to learn from there from Julie's experience. So, guys, our membership here is for free, and there is a lot of things to learn and how to do your application right. So, if you're not yet a member, join us. I'll be posting the link in the comment section. Brian, do you still have few minutes to answer a few more questions from the
I
comments?
do. I just want to give a shout out relative to, before we continue, to Backpay and our topic
Mm,
today, like with Julie. So the fact that she did not stay on her case, or she was given advice not to stay on her case and go through the appeals council level and then eventually to federal court, forfeited like back pay, right? So that's what you want to be conscious of, is not to give up, right? So, and now she's on a new case. So yes, let's continue.
Right. So we got a question here from Thomas Smith. He said, I was found disabled. Monthly check began 2 months ago, but I still have no back pay. I went to the office. They say they saw no issues, and I put in a request to expedite, but still nothing. Any ideas?
Yeah, I wonder what level. Did he say it was a hearing or initial or recon or where?
Uh, he's already receiving monthly check, but he didn't receive back pay.
Okay, so here's, if you're approved at the initial application level or the reconsideration, you typically, sometimes you get your back pay before you even get your notice of award. So it's less likely that it's stuck there. Um, if it's a hearing, then you could receive your monthly and your back pay be held up. One of the things to look into is like, what could possibly be holding it up? Were you an SSI, like a welfare recipient, where you're receiving some monthly cash? That will
Mm-hmm.
hold up your back pay because the flow of money goes from the decision office, the local office or the hearing office, to a payment center, and they've got to figure out, okay, how much monthly money did he get that we have to take out of the back?
Mm-hmm.
Another one that can hold it up is workers' compensation, because that's also an offset. So if you had either of those, I mean, we've seen it take a year, unfortunately. So if it's not that, then you want to find out where your money is at. You want to do this anyway, and that's called a payment center. And we have a video on our YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you looked under payment center or not. If not, if you're a member here at the Disability Digest, it's contact support with like a statement like how to find my payment center, and we'll get that back to you. But you want to find where the money is at in the payment center, and then you want to start applying some pressure on them. And we do provide you some tips and strategies in that video to do it. If you have a disability representative that you're working with, I would get them on this job. Not to say that you shouldn't do anything, but have them chase down the money, find out where it's at.
All right. So, by the way, before I read the next question, I just wanted to read the comment here from Philip about Julie earlier. Philip said she mentioned that she's from Houston, Texas, and went to Herman Hospital. That is where I was born. So, what are the odds?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
that'd be a
Anyway, I
good
just wanted
place.
to mention that. Yeah. So, got another question here from Lulu. She said, is there any concern, advantage, or disadvantage, or crucial awareness to keep in mind when completing a telehealth, psych, or mental CE agreement?
I'm not familiar with an agreement. Could it be appointment?
I think appointment is what she meant.
Yeah. so you're doing a CE at home. There is some things that you should be aware of. Like we have in our disability approval course, it is in section 3 for those that have applied or applied and waiting of what to do for these exams. Um, you want to, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing because you can access it through a membership, no charge, and get into the course. But ideally, depending on your situation, you don't want to participate in these alone. And even if it's virtual, you can have somebody there that is going to be with you. Like I have done this for my mom as her advocate through virtual telehealth, uh, brain health capacity assessments. Um,
Mhm.
and so that this person is there to hold one, the examiner accountable to make sure that what they say and do is actually properly reported. And
Mhm.
you can record the event. It's legal to do that. So you can record it or have your advocate record it with a phone. So if they say that they've evaluated you for 20 minutes, and they put in the notes that they evaluated you for 40, um,
Mhm.
you want to get the real deal. So advocate, accountability, provide medical records summary, ideally in advance. Say, listen, these are the conditions that I have. I've got long haul COVID and it's affected my executive function. I'm not able to remember repetitive things. And that's probably
Mhm.
why you're in here to examine me. I want to make sure that your exam lines with this. Because these people that are doing this, I don't know if people is the right word, but they are people. They're hired by Social Security and they're paid a little bit of money. They're not paid like a doctor. So their deal is to do a lot of these and, so that they can make some money doing it. So you have to be very careful about that kind of framework that you're in. So those are a few tips for the rest of them. Approval course, section 3.
All right. So, Lulu, please take note of that approval course, section 3. I hope that helps. Now, we have a question from Mr. P. I'm in the process of applying for SSDI. I'm working and I'm under the limit. I can't quit. I didn't have doctor support the first time I applied. I just changed my doctor. Is there anything I can do to win?
Wow, where do I start? You're in the right place. We do win cases. Yeah. Well, the basics are join as a member, get into the disability approval course. If you're going through it, you want to make sure that you do the 7 things at the initial application phase, like impeccably accurate if you want to get approved or have somebody do it for you as a representative. I mean, that's the basic. Um, so it's all there for you. And if you're working and I think the where I'm going with my train of thought here is in the disability approval course, it's not, I haven't found a way to clearly communicate how to document what you're doing at work that may reduce the amount of money that you are justifiably earning. Here's what I mean by this. Let's say that you're earning $1,000 a month. But the work that you're doing is being accommodated by allowing you to come in late, take naps in your car, leave early. You have, a 2 or 3 doctor's appointments a month. You can do all that. That's not normal. That's accommodation. So that decreases the value of the money that you're making. And they're paying you this money because likely you're good at what you're doing. I'm going to go with that. And they want to keep you. So special accommodations, understand what they are, how to document them, and make sure that that is clearly communicated in your disability application because it could take that $1,000 and reduce it down. Maybe you're only doing really $300 or $400 worth of work, but they're paying you for 1,000 to keep you. Hopefully that makes sense.
All right. Okay, we got another question from David. I got approved and I was paid my back pay. I took them to the court. I won and they doubled my SSDI pay. But my back pay was not adjusted based on my increase. Is that correct?
No, I don't understand it. So if they say they doubled your monthly check is based on your work history. So if you look in your Social Security account, which you wouldn't be able to do now because you're approved, and it says it's $2,000 a month, it's $2,000 a month. It's not like you can go to the judge and say, hey, judge, you know what? I'd like four instead of two. Can we make that work? So that's what I'm hearing as a question, so that part confuses me. And the back pay formula, if you've joined us late or what I went through earlier,
Earlier.
is like really tune into what's your onset date, 5 months after that, the elimination period, and how many
Mhm.
months that you're entitled to, and does that make sense? And if it doesn't, you have to understand the risk to appeal your back pay.
Yeah. All right. One last here from Maurice. Hi, I got approved partially on May 9, 2025, with an onset date of March 1st, 2025. Should I appeal? So I'm not very familiar with partially approved. So
Okay, so I think I know what this is. Can I have the dates again?
yeah, so partially approved on May 9 this year. And then onset date is March 1st of this year.
I wonder what the onset date should be.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to take a shot at this one. The word partially, in my experience, comes up if you go to a disability hearing and the judge writes a decision and it
Hmm.
says that you are partially disabled or partial approval. It's not partially disabled. So what the alternative would be fully favorable, and what the exact language is partially favorable. I'm going to go with that's what it is. And what partially favorable is the judge looked at it and he said, you know what? I know you've been out of work since, let's say, March of 2024. And that's what you're claiming as your onset. But I don't see the medical lining up with that until March 1st of 2025. So we're going to take those 12 months out. And in the decision, I'm going to give you a partial decision. You'll get your monthly check, but your back benefits, instead of March of 2024, it's going to be March of 2025. All right.
Hmm.
So I'm going to go back to, I am 96.7% certain that that is the situation that's here. Um, so then I don't know if you should appeal it or not. You have to do like, do I have really rock solid medical
Mm.
to do it? And can I get that overturned? And am I willing to jeopardize the decision that I have? I don't know the answer to that. So those are the things that you need to take into consideration. But that's a great example that maybe I've made it a great example, thinking what it is. But
Yeah.
hopefully that's helped. But congratulations on getting approved. Uh,
Yeah. Congratulations.
yeah,
All right. Yeah, that's all the questions that we have from the comments today, Brian.
good, good. All right. Well, listen, I hope you have enjoyed the new time frame that we have here. And for those of you that are out there and are not members, which it sounds like several of you are, I am just going to pull over here on my screen um, the Disability Digest website, and Nadine can put a link in the chat. If you're
Yep.
not a the best way we can help you is if you come here and click a green button and join us as a member. And the reason why is otherwise you're really like, you're welcome to listen to every of the videos that we have. I think there's around 1,800. but not all of them, frankly, are going to be relevant to you. But to get the most relevant information to you, regardless if you're going through the approval process or already approved, is to complete your profile. And maybe you're a member and you haven't done this in a while. You can come in and repeat it and update it. But by clicking, I haven't applied, or yes or no to working and completing your profile, that gives us the information we need to get you into like one of the top 6 courses that's going to help you out. So it would help us understand if you haven't applied, or maybe you've already applied and you're applied and waiting. Those two things are distinctly different, believe it or not, and what you need. Or you're approved and you just got approved and you need to understand how to review your award letter and want to understand how to keep your benefits. So come over, click the green button, join us as a member. That's the best way we can help you out. Stay tuned into what we're doing. The membership has like 24/7 support, digital support with our good friend Benny, and it has email
Yep.
support. You can talk to live advocates, actually real people like us are here to help you with your membership. And yes, there's no charge. We're supported by ads and sponsors and services that allow us to put all of this stuff together for you. So if that is something that you feel would benefit you, come on over. We'd love to help you out with,
Yep.
who's doing here, right?
All
Nate,
right.
thank you for your contribution to today's event. And next week,
Of course.
hopefully will be our good friend, Mr. Philip Price.
Yes.
Which would be wonderful. So mark your calendars. Next week, 12 o'clock, we'll be back with a new topic and a new show.